So as we just heard, President Lee is on a state visit to Brazil aimed at broadening Korea's economic and strategic partnership, with the two countries agreeing to deepen cooperation in areas ranging from defense and critical minerals to space energy and trade, while also pledging to push forward long-stalled negotiations on a Korea-Mercosur trade agreement. So for more on what this could mean, we're joined today by Dr. Kil-joo, Assistant Professor at the Korea National Diplomatic Academy. Professor Pan, thank you very much for coming on today.
Good to be with you.
So, Professor, President Lee began his state visit by touring Brazil's C-390 military transport aircraft, calling it the first step in defense cooperation between the two countries. So how significant is this symbolism, and could defense become a new pillar of the Korea-Brazil relationship beyond the single procurement deal?
Well, cooperation on the defense industry belongs to the area of high politics as opposed to low politics based on non-military agendas. In general, cooperation on high politics is made among security partners rather than simply economic partners. In this vein, defense cooperation, particularly on C-390 between South Korea and Brazil, serves as a stepping stone for evolving the bilateral relationship from economic partners to more consolidated partners, including a defense partner. With this in mind, this symbolism shows how keen South Korea is on designing and upgrading its strategy on the global south, in a situation where Brazil plays a leading role in the global south. Moreover, this example of defense cooperation on C-390 shows that South Korea's cooperation with Brazil is being made under the concept of reciprocity. In this sense, defense cooperation between the two countries is more likely to create synergy diplomatically and strategically. In particular, from the viewpoint of South Korea's diplomatic strategy, we need to take a look at three arenas of diplomacy: security diplomacy, inclusive diplomacy, and expanded diplomacy. Security diplomacy refers to its emphasis on diplomatic cooperation with allies and partners such as the United States and Japan. Inclusive diplomacy means its additional efforts to step up cooperation with non-like-minded countries such as China. Furthermore, South Korea attempts to expand its diplomatic horizon to the world, including the global south. This symbolism shows how South Korea highlights expanded diplomacy as well as security diplomacy and inclusive diplomacy.
Right, and trade appears to be one of the central themes of this trip, with President Lee pushing to restart negotiations on a trade agreement with Mercosur while also expanding business ties with Brazil. So given the current rise in protectionism and supply chain competition, what would deeper trade integration with South America mean strategically for South Korea?
To be honest, if I define this trip with one phrase, it is economic diplomacy. Well, this economic diplomacy has two expected utilities: lessening protectionism and diversifying supply chains. When it comes to the first expanded utility, protectionism is at the forefront around the world, which puts all countries around the world in a lose-lose game. Resuming FTA negotiations between South Korea and Mercosur countries could help mitigate the mechanism of lose-lose game, particularly in the sense that Mercosur is a big market where 300 million people live. When trade agreements between South Korea and Mercosur countries are made, and by doing so, protectionism is mitigated in the global arena, South Korea will be better placed to prosper economically. In addition to this expected utility, South Korea's enhanced cooperation with Mercosur countries can contribute to diversifying critical minerals supply chain in a situation where economic security is being more critical. As of right now, South Korea belongs to 4G, which is a multilateral platform for critical minerals cooperation, succeeding MSP, Minerals Security Partnership. Despite this fact, in an era of uncertainty, more diversified supply chains help South Korea better guarantee critical minerals security and economic security. All in all, South Korea's enhanced cooperation with Mercosur countries can contribute to mitigating protectionism around the world, which should be beneficial to South Korea's prosperity, and diversifying South Korea's critical mineral supply chains, which is beneficial to South Korea's economic security.
Right, and to expand on your point just a little bit more, President Lee has framed South Korea not simply as a source of raw materials, but as a long-term partner in building resilient supply chains for critical minerals, batteries, and advanced manufacturing. So from a geopolitical perspective, how important is this shift towards value-added industrial cooperation rather than just a traditional buyer-seller relationship?
Well, when the international order is faltering and unpredictable, a traditional buyer-seller relationship alone is least likely to overcome rising geopolitical risks and maintain stable economic relationships. To put it another way, without establishing a long-term partnership, any cooperation could be broken if something happens geopolitically and economically. Moreover, if South Korea and South America convert their relationship from a traditional buyer-seller relationship to value-added industrial cooperation, synergistic effects could be created while taking advantages of merits on each side. To take an example, when South Korea's technology meets South America's resources, both reciprocity and synergy are most likely. Likewise, value-added industrial cooperation requires an enhanced interconnectedness ranging from societal communication to high-tech cooperation, even to defense cooperation. This upgraded interconnectedness can lead to the mechanism of economic interdependence, which allows the two sides to be reciprocally helpful in both economic and diplomatic domains. In the meantime, how to sustain this shifting vision needs to be taken into account. Pan-governmental efforts and institutionalization matter to guarantee the long-term function of this ambition. To that end, this vision should have bipartisan support from both sides.
Right, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, but thank you very much, Professor, for your insights this morning.
Thanks for having me.